What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Let me get my mic together. Get this together. 1 second. We got one little issue right here. Let me see. Hear this noise in the background. Try to get this situated right quick. There was 1 second I hear something. Let me see. Sure. And boom, there we go. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Dollar Hour. I am Deonte Burden, aka Mr. Short Dollar himself. Tonight we got an awesome show planned with you guys. Tonight we're going to talk about, it's going to be a tax talk. We're going to be unveiling sales tax, income tax, and property taxes. And the reason why I'm doing the show tonight is because there have been a lot of times we've had, over the years, I've heard people say different things in regards to, especially me being an accountant. People come all the time, during tax season. Why do I got to pay so much in taxes? What's the purpose? The government get everything. Not understanding really what the impact of tax would know it's something you have to pay, but exactly what it's going to or what it's for, especially when we start talking about from income tax, sales tax, and property tax perspective, especially from a local perspective. Hear a lot of things in regards to school systems, police forces, ambulance, hospitals, things like that. Not understanding the direct impact, how those particular services are paid for. And I want to have a discussion with you guys. It's pretty much like a one-on-one. Again, we're talking tax talk, unveiling sales, income, and property taxes. I'm back in the game. I'm sorry about that, y'all. Listen, I had a little technical difficulties. If you guys haven't noticed, I'm back at the lab. Misfit Studios. I'm out. Been out for the past couple weeks. I think DJ Lab birthday is something this weekend and everything. So I'm at the studio. I'm at the crib having little issues with my router, so I apologize about everything. I should be back in the fold right now. But we're gonna have a good discussion because again, we're talking tonight about tax talks, unveiling sales, income, and property tax. We're gonna have an open discussion talking about those three particular mechanisms being income tax, property tax, and sales tax, what they are, what they do, how they're used, and how they're going about as far as decided upon with your everyday life and what actual entities use it from a local, state, and federal level and what they use for. So that's what we're talking about tonight. Again, I am Deonte Burden, aka Mr. Short Dollar himself. You know the Mr. Short Dollar YouTube channel. We talk about personal finance, business, entrepreneurship, and investing. We have over 700 videos on the YouTube channel. We have an active grants playlist with over 150 grant opportunities for you guys to take advantage of as well. So right now we're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Twitter. The main hub is the Mr. Short Dollar YouTube channel. So please go to the YouTube channel, Mr. Short Dollar, subscribe to whatever platform you're looking at, the main hub. So if you ever get knocked out, you got to leave or whatever, you can always go back to the YouTube channel, Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube, and take advantage of all the great information that we currently have and all the great information we have coming down the pipe. Now, again, starting discussion tonight where we're talking about the tax talk with property taxes, income taxes, and sales taxes. Like I say, every year around, tax time coming, I'm an accountant. When we stop doing filing people's taxes, people expecting this big humongous refund. I think it's Christmas. A lot of people look at it as Christmas after Christmas. And depending on if they like what they see or not, they're just wondering, why the hell they got to get government money for taxes. And what I found out is that the vast majority of people walking around have no idea they have a concept where, okay, DDS, the name of your YouTube channel is Mr. Short Dollar. Mr. Short Dollar. If you're looking at us on TikTok, you can go to my bio on the TikTok, hit the link, and then take you right straight to the YouTube channel. I think the link to in the bio on the TikTok homepage, the bio has a link for all the other social media platforms, but it definitely the link to the YouTube channel is in the bio on the homepage on TikTok. I appreciate you asking that also, but you can go there and take advantage of all the great information that's on there. But again, people are looking at, they're when tax time comes, we're doing the taxes. They're looking at it, just had no idea what it's used for. So I try to have a discussion sometimes because you hear it all the time. Especially me and the guys at the cigar shop. You guys know I smoke. They were talking about increasing the pay of teachers and increasing police pay and different things that they need in the community and things like that, which is cool. Don't get me wrong. But what I try to get people to understand, I'm an accountant. I've been in business over 22 years, but also worked in county governments for over 15 years. So I got a vast amount of knowledge in regards to how, from a local government perspective, how tax funds are located, especially from a property taxes and sales tax perspective. With doing that, I went through all those training and classes in regards to local county tax and things like that, how things are charged and applied and things like that. But what people really don't understand is like if one thing gets increased, that to be some kind of thing on the inverse where either you're going to take away or increase on another end. So if you just say hypothetically, again, we're talking about unveiling sales tax, income tax, and property taxes. So you look at it from a perspective of, let's say you want to have increased teachers' pay. That has to be something that has to change on some end to increase teachers' pay. That means either property tax is going to go up. They're going to have some kind of what we call like a SPLOS, which is like a little, one-time small percentage increase on your sales tax. Something has to go up with that, or something else has to decrease to cover that, right? It's just, you just can't, do that. Or, your property, like I said, the amount of your charge and your taxes, it has to come from somewhere. It can't just pull out of thin air. Didi says taxes are for civil services like trash pickup, running, DMV salary, etc. Well, that's a good point. But then what we're going to talk about from, when you look at it from a sales tax, income tax, and property taxes, all of them have a different place where they're charged and where they're applied to with doing that. And so like with the point with Didi just saying, when we talk about teachers and stuff, that's more at the local level. And those typically, and it's kind of most counties around the government, local government, cities and counties, kind of function somewhere in the same, fashion where they do certain things. You have some states like Texas and Florida don't charge state income taxes, but they may pick it up more so on the sales tax side and things like that. But for the most part, everybody kind of functions about the same way. But again, I want you guys to kind of be thinking about it. That's what we're looking at it like. When we want one thing to change, something else has to change in conjunction with it. And that's why I say a lot of times you have a conversation with people. They're like, man, my damn property tax is going up, especially with the amount of inflation that everybody's went through in the past, year and a half, 2 years. Property taxes, home values have shot up. And in conjunction with the property taxes shooting up, so have with the home value shooting up, the property taxes have as well. So it's nothing uncommon for your home, your house note to may go up a couple $100, to compensate for the actual increase of the value of your home. So the thing of it is that when people look at it like, I want property taxes to be reduced, when you start looking at it from that perspective, there are services that depend on those property taxes, right? I.e., school system, i.e., your police department, your fire department, things like that. And that's why I think a lot of times people don't understand what particular services are paid for. And again, we start talking about increasing certain things, the impact of it. Because again, when you had those conversations about we need to get more police, we need to get increased teachers' pay, we need to have more, hospitals and things like that. The money has to come from somewhere. I mean, we can get into, hey, well, politicians make this, that, and that. At the end of the day, numbers are numbers. So if they, you just can't be a damn magician and just pull money from one place. Again, that's what I did for almost 15 years to deal with local counties accounting to understand those particular things. Money has to come from somewhere. So if money goes here, again, it has to decrease somewhere else, or the actual amount you're paying in taxes is going to have to increase. And most of the time, depending on how progressive everybody's thinking or the economic status of a particular community, people going to be a little reluctant with increasing their taxes. And so that's why I want to have that conversation with you guys tonight in regards to those particular part of taxes, because taxes and theoretically, like what Didi just mentioned a little while ago, their government is using to generate revenue to fund public services, infrastructure, and various other government functions. And each one, from a sales tax, income tax, and property tax, they have a different place where they're pulled from, and they have a different purpose. Okay. Feel free, guys. You got any questions or comments, anything like that? Make sure you leave them in there. Let me make sure I put something in the chat as well. But yeah, feel free if you guys got any questions, any comments, anything like that. You put them in the chat, and I get with you. I'm not in the studio, so we can't do the call in like we normally do, guys. So let me put this in here right quick. While I'm getting this together, say big shout out to all the kids that just started back school this school year. I got two of my boys. My baby boy William started 7th grade, and my third son Christopher, I drop him off next week at Clayton State University. So I'm super excited. Got 3 kids down, 1 more to go. So we going in the right direction. We ain't had nobody want to move back in or anything like that. So we're good to go with that. Let me see. Got that going. All right. So the first one I want to talk about, guys, and again, if you guys got any questions, anything like that, feel free to add to the conversation. Let me get my little funky notes together in regards to everything. The first one to talk about is a sales tax. And sales tax is pretty much what's considered a consumption tax. Again, like I said, it's called a consumption tax. And what happens is sales tax is usually charged on a particular item that you buy. Every now and then maybe put sales tax on the service, but for the most part, it's applied to a particular item that you buy. And that's usually charged at the local level, your city, county, most of the time not state, unless, like I said, you got states like Florida and Texas where they don't charge income tax. They'll pick it up from there. They also, those are states that usually have like toll roads and things like that to kind of compensate for not charging with a state income tax. So sales tax, again, is considered a consumption tax and is used, again, applied to when people purchase particular items. Usually not when you do a service, because I've had guys do work for me, carpentry work, electrical work, and they put on stuff tax. So I'm like, what the hell? You can't charge tax on a service. But it's sometimes you got to be careful there. So if that does happen to you guys, please make sure that you check, see if your state is a state where people can charge that. Now, if they have materials that they purchase or whatever, make sure that the tax that they're charging you is applied, is percentage wise on the material, not the whole totality of the bill as far as labor and the materials. Again, the sales tax is applied to actual whatever consumed or used to purchase and whatever. So you got to be very careful there. Like I said, I just had a damn contractor. He put tax on there, and I bought all the damn materials. So I'm trying to figure out where the tax came from. So with that said, again, it's really applied most of the time at a local level, local meaning city, county, and state level. Most of the time it's used to actually go in conjunction with most of it. And it's usually a percentage. I think here in Georgia, sales tax is 6.2, 6.4. God forgive me if I'm wrong, but it's somewhere in that neighborhood. And what'll happen is the state will have their sales tax, and then the county and the city add something on top of it, maybe 1.2 or whatever. Then you go to the store and purchase something. Your sales tax may be 7 or 8%, but it's usually a combination of from the state, county, city level, and that combination may come up, with those things. And that's how it is here in Georgia. But it pretty much in the product that you buy, you have to do that, and that it helps fund certain public services, maybe education, healthcare, public safety, transportation, and more. A lot of times, and this is the most important part of that, for even when we're talking about sales tax, property tax, and income taxes, I know most people are very reactive when it comes to how certain things are done, how things are pushed out in regards to um, uh, taxes or dealing with politics and everything like that. It's very, very important, guys. When you have city councils and uh, county commissioners and things like that, it's very important that you kind of have an idea of where they stand, or if you every blue moon go to a meeting, because a lot of times you don't find out until you hit your pocketbook certain decisions that have been made, from a fiscal standpoint. So you got to be very, very careful, because I'm always warning people, listen, they make decisions that can affect you in the grand scheme of things. And a lot of times people say, well, I'm not into politics, and I can't sit and say I'm one my damn self to do it, but I'm into my pocketbook. And a lot of times when you don't know what people are doing in regard, uh, at some of these board meetings and things like that, they can make decisions that can impact you in a great way, especially when we start dealing with those taxes and things and how those taxes are applied. So again, that sales tax, again, that's called a consumption tax. It's also kind of looked at, what's considered a regressive, and regressive means that it usually, the impact of it usually affects people on the lower income side of everything. And what I mean by that is, by being regressive, most people from a lower income level usually buying more things in regards to try to, things for survival, food, things, necessities. People at a high income level may not do as much purchasing with certain things. Now we can just look at it, I don't want to get so in depth of, hey, poor people buy this, poor people buy that, and they stay away. That's not what I mean by that, but we're just talking about from activity and survival level. Usually more things are bought from that. That's why it's considered regressive, because it has a bigger impact on lower income than it does, people from a high income with doing it. It's just studies showing these particular things. But again, the sales tax, that is a consumption tax. And again, that's usually applied at the local, your city, county, and state level. So that's usually what happens with that. When you go to the stores, anytime you buy any kind of product, that's typically when you're going to be charged sales tax. Remember what I said before? That's based on a product. You don't charge taxes for services. Always remember that, guys. You don't get charged tax for services. So if a person does any kind of work for you, i.e., plumber, electrician, your tax man, and everything like that, they can't charge you for a service. The only time tax can be charged if there's some product or something given to it. Like I said, if you get a job, parts and labor, you have to check it. But also remember, guys, you're only supposed to pay taxes on the parts, not the labor. Okay, so you just keep that in mind, because a lot of times people get paperwork and don't look at it. I'm Mr. Short Dollar. I'm also Mr. Damn Tight Dollar. So I kind of look at all that kind of stuff and have a conversation with that. So you need to make sure you look at that particular item. And that's just a little food for thought, because a lot of us actually do, hey, I'm gonna get this stuff painted around the house. Had a guy do some work for me here and there. You get an invoice or whatever. And I mean, depending on if it's a couple $1,000 job, you might be getting charged a couple $100 extra on. It says taxes on the form, but they can't charge you taxes for labor. Just keep that in mind. Excuse me, they can't charge you for that. So just keep that in mind. So when you're looking at it, you could always do a Google search and just say, what is my state income taxes or whatever. You can do a Google search and find that out. State, county, city taxes. It's public information. Find it out and you look at it and just say, hey, man, the math ain't math and we need to fix this or whatever. But that's just a little food for thought, because it does happen more often than not. And again, depending on what you're doing, it could be a big substantial difference if they're not charging, especially if you're getting, some bigger ticket items, plumbing work, any kind of repairs or something like that done in your house. It can make a huge difference in the amount of money you're paying if you're not looking it over to find out what exactly in those numbers when they form them calculations. And so that's what sales tax is. The next one, guys, is income tax. Again, we're talking about unveiling sales, income, and property taxes. Feel free, guys, leave in the comments in there in the chat if you have any comments. And then we're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Twitter. The funny thing about income taxes is that being on the tax meetings over 20 years, I see the whole gamut in regards to when I see those W-2s come in front of me. Some people pay taxes, some don't, and everything. And when the tax time come, and now they, it's all kind of different feelings depending on when you file your taxes, how much you owe, and what, and everything. The key thing about it is what I want people to understand. What is the whole point of income taxes, right? And income taxes is for the most part levied for government, federal government, state government. That's really for the most part what income taxes applied for. When you see things, just how things are operated at the federal level, some major structural things, like especially with the police forces, social services, government operations and programs, social services, defense, infrastructure, education, and more. Those things are usually funded by income taxes, right? So when you start looking at things, from federal programs you may need or want to take advantage of, things like that, that's where it goes. Okay. So if you don't do or don't pay taxes, I think it's very, very important to understand where those dollars are supposed to go to. Now, that's a different conversation again, before altogether, when we get into if people are mismanaging money or placing money where they're not supposed to be. That's a different conversation. We're just talking about theoretically what's supposed to happen with the money. So those, so when you have your IRS, your EPA, FDIC, CDC, all those are federal entities, but they're funded by your federal income tax dollars, right? Same thing with your state programs. They kind of on the same stage with that. They're funded by your state income tax dollars, and the income tax is considered more of a progressive tax. And what I mean by progressive tax is usually has a bigger impact on the more money you make. So typically, the more money you're making, you're going to pay more money in taxes, right? So that's just one of the major differences between that. And I think it's very, very important. Two ways people can look at it when we start talking about taxes. I would always, tell people to do a Google search in regards to how, each $1 is allocated from a federal or state level. And from that point, you can see exactly how everything is distributed with that. I think we always have a better perspective on certain things once we know how things are supposed to be spent or allocated. The problem come up is a lot of times we stay kind of ignorant to stuff on purpose, and we don't really want to know exactly why, because it doesn't interest us. On time you look things people on time people you have an interest with particular things like taxes and stuff, and we're talking about the taxes you're paying out your pocket until here they get a bill. But a lot of times when you put yourself again reactive in those positions, ain't too much you can do. You stuck with a bill. You want to know, why do I have to do this? Why do I have to pay that? But if you look at it theoretically, and that's how most things are set up from a theory standpoint, everything should work out okay. But we all know that we got to have people run certain things, and if they're going to do the right thing or not, we don't know. You just really don't know. You hope so, that's the case, but you don't know. But when you start looking at, from those income taxes, that's pretty much what it's done. So you can actually do, again, any kind of Google search to find out how each $1 from percentage standpoints will be allocated with that. And you'll also see, depending on the amount you make, that you'll have some tier level in regards, we talk about tax brackets and things like that. The more money you make is kind of structured out. The percentage increases, or the amount the percentage, the amount increases, and the percentage of certain portions will change in accordance to how much money you make. Okay, but still, the budgeted amount for those dollars is still going in the same direction with that. And I think it'd be very informative to anybody to know exactly where their funds are, what the funds are allocated to, or where they be going at. So I think that's just a good practice for anybody to try to find that out. Okay. A lot of times, people look at it in regards to different programs that come and go. And when you start looking at certain things like, let's say Section 8, programs for veterans, drug programs, things like that, a lot of times those social programs are funded by income taxes, right? And I think when we start looking at certain things changing, and what we all seen it all the time, people will say, hey, we're getting a new politician in. What are your stance? Are you going to reduce taxes and stuff like that? Because Again, income tax is a progressive tax. Like we said, with sales tax is a regressive tax. You'll have more of an impact on people from a lower income. Income tax is progressive, so it has a greater impact on people that usually make more money. So usually one of the biggest complaints they have is that, hey, how can you make changes in regards to taxes? I've seen a lot of celebrities, especially I've seen a couple rappers had complaints. So I had to pay so much in taxes and stuff like that. They're not thinking like, yeah, you're paying more in taxes, but it's the impact you making, and if it's right or wrong or fair or unfair. I don't know how they look at how things will get paid, because a lot of times you ask people, well, if you don't want to do it this way, will be another solution. Most people can't give you an answer. They'll say, I don't know and I don't care. And at the end of the day, that shit ain't gonna go nowhere. So you got to figure out something. But again, we start looking at those differences of those social programs with them. We have to make sure that we're looking at it. If we don't want something, and what I said before from the beginning, when certain things increase or decrease, it's an inverse or impact somewhere else, right? We want to put more money into the government. When the pandemic hit, when we had it was so much money that was allocated to stimulus checks and things like that. A lot of budgets had to be reallocated and a lot of things had to be redone because you had to put money in the economy. I get that part, but on the flip side of it is where we're going to fund it from. Will they issue bonds? Were they actually going to, do less of this, increase more of that? All that stuff had to be figured out. And most people, just from a common stance, you're not going to be thinking about that. You're just thinking about, hey, did I get my $1,200 stimulus check? But it's got to have some kind of impact somewhere else. And we got to look at it. It's very, very important that you try to get yourself in a situation where you actually understand it. If money from here comes this way, where is that affecting something else? Because it could be something that could be directly affecting you. We see right now that there's a shortage in Social Security funds. We all gonna get old. As long as we live, we're gonna get older. Depending on how much money you put into your retirement plan, 401k, 457 plan, or if you have a pension at your job, shit, you don't know where you're gonna be at with that, right? So they're gonna increase the amount of other people that are younger and paying in Social Security? Are they going to reduce funds from another place? All this stuff got to be thought of. So we got to kind of make sure. I would just advise anyone that, and it may not be the most interesting subject to you, but at least somewhat start getting aware of, different taxes that are out there. How does that affect you? Because far too often, I think, right now, people get caught up into what they can get back on the tax refund or the less amount of money they can pay in taxes. I get it. But keep understanding, if it's a shortage somewhere and certain amounts don't come in, there's less things that can be allocated out to people. And I've seen that on different tiers. Like I'm in Jonesboro, Georgia, and we had what was that, 2009, the school system lost its accreditation. School system lost their accreditation. I'm going to get a property tax in a little bit, but the school system lost their accreditation in Clayton County. I think that was maybe 2010, 2011, maybe right before the end. I know it was right before my oldest son went to high school. But long story short, we know the school system is one of the major drivers of property values, right? So when the school system tanked, property values went through just tanked. And, you might have had a house worth $300,000, now it's worth $150 because of that. Now, because the property taxes have dropped, that's less from the millage rate may stay the same, but they can't apply that same amount because your house is now no longer valued at $300,000, maybe valued at $150. So they're bringing in much less money. This went on for about like 4 or 5 years. It was longer than that, hell, because they had to go through hiring new superintendent, getting accreditation back and all that stuff. So it took almost 10 years to get everything kind of going in the right direction in the county with doing that. But again, when you start doing it, there's less money that the county is bringing in, and that's less money they can apply to certain resources. And I know they had to put, I know when Clayton County got a new school superintendent, I think they brought that guy in at about $400,000. So if you turn around and increase money here to get somebody in to fix this stuff, that means money has to go away from certain somewhere else. That means somebody may have to, they may can hire someone else. They may have to stop some other programs and stuff. But I remember what I said, guys. We start looking at taxes when we say, well, hey, we want to increase teachers' pay. We want to bring in more police officers. What's the other side of that? Are we going to increase taxes, or are we going to get rid of some programs? Something has to happen. Something has to happen. They just can't do that because their budget, when budgets are laid, that's what has to be spent, right? You may have a surplus from a previous year, some added money that you can pull from, but that's the perspective that you got to have, right? So you got to kind of keep that in mind. And from an income tax standpoint, remember that's one of them things that we look at, that progressive tax. It's just a way of redistributing wealth when in regards to more you make, the more money that you're paying taxes. Again, from sales tax, we're being regressive. More applied to people from lower incomes because they typically out there usually spending more money. So just kind of something to keep in mind with that. And the third one we'll talk about is property taxes, right? And again, tonight's show we're talking about is Tax Talk, Unveiling Sales, Income, and Property Taxes. Property taxes pretty much what the taxes imposed on the value of real estate property, including land and other structures, i.e., houses and buildings. And the purpose of property taxes is to generate revenue from local governments to fund public services, local infrastructures, such as schools, roads, police and fire departments, and parks. Property taxes are typically based on the assessed value of the property and can vary based on the location and the property's value. They can be seen as a way for homeowners and property owners to contribute to the community service that benefit them. And so with that said, one of the main ways that school systems are paid for is with your property taxes, right? So that's why typically a lot of times people look at, hey, on one side of town, you got a school looking this way, typically because those values of those homes percentage, but based off what they're paying in property taxes, is impacting that area. Now, that varies in regards to how the county is set up to say, okay, listen, even though you're paying more money in this particular area, but we're going to one pot and we're going to allocate it equally. I don't think that's the case most of the time to do that. And to be honest with you, I don't know if that's fair either. That's just that's not another conversation. If I'm working harder, or if my house, and again, if an area, is probably a lower value, and they don't have to contribute that much to the pot, should the place with a high value and contributing more to the pot should, just be equal amount, or should, the amount I came in with, I get rewarded in proportion to that. That's another conversation, especially when you start talking about putting certain things in place where people have put in a lot of work to increase their values to do that, so that's when you see these particular things and people look at it. We should have what they have. The thought process is you didn't pay what we paid. I know in particular, I don't know what it is right now. Like, so I'm in Clayton County. I don't exactly even know. Let me see if I can do a quick Google search. Right quick. Let me see if I can do this right quick. Again, a nice show. It's Tax Talk. We're talking about unveiling property tax, sales tax, and income tax. Having a discussion in regards to what property tax, income tax, and sales tax are, how they charge, how they applied, and everything. Just having a discussion on that. We're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Twitter. The main hub is the Mr. Short Dollar YouTube channel. Make sure you go there, subscribe, hit the leave. We got over 700 videos on the YouTube channel, and also active grant playlist with over 150 grant opportunities. Let me check something out right quick. Let's see. Okay. Let me see something. I don't even know if this is updated. What I was trying to find out, and I seen a statistic a couple years ago. I live in Clayton County, Georgia. I'm in Lake Spivey, Jonesboro area. The thing I wanted to know was percentage-wise, because I remember over maybe a year or two ago, it was 80% of the residents of Clayton County are renters. And it's not a knock about who's paying, who renting what's good or bad. The issue come up if you're renting, you're not paying property tax. Now the actual owner of the land, now you say I'm contributing to it because I'm paying my rent, and the actual landlord is paying it. But typically, what the actual thought process, a lot of times, sometimes maybe somebody's renting, they may not necessarily have the whole same vested interest in doing that. And that's just, that would be still opinionated with doing that. But what I'm looking at, I'm trying to find that statistic. If anyone finds that, please let me know from the amount, because it was some data that I seen. But I know the bulk of the county is not homeowners. The bulk of the county is still renters. Let me see. Renter fraction. Okay, this is as of 2019. 51% of how this 2019, we're in 23, but this is the most recent I got. That's 51%. 51% of the residents of Clayton County is renters. So that's over half of the inhabitants of the county are renters, right? So with that thought process of doing it, you don't know how much they're actually committing. Again, coming from a property tax standpoint, putting into the actual county. Now, again, it may be like, hey, I'm paying the landlord, they're doing it, but again, that's may or may have that kind of impact on it. But that's just something to kind of think about. We got Coach put on here, Clayton County is slow catching up to Henry and Fayette as far as property taxes go. Well, I think the thing of it is that I think everybody typically is, they're kind of on the same page in regards to the actual percentage amount they may charge. The issue comes up are the values of the homes in no particular area. Because I mean, Clayton has increased, right? Clayton has increased, but I think everybody increased just due to inflation. But increased in as far as to equal in value with low neighboring counties like a Fayette or a Henry County. I don't think the house values have increased. I think everybody has similar percentages, but I just the values haven't, because again I think it's still a stigma here. But that was one of the things I'm looking at in regards to when I was saying the 51%. A lot of times, because certain things aren't paid, because again, you just say you got apartment building or whatever, the property taxes are paid on those, and it may be inhabited, may not be inhabited, but those kind of things are taken consideration. How things are applied towards your local government, your school system, and things like that. And I don't think enough conversations are had about that. And again, that's and I was just thinking when I'm stating this, I'm thinking out loud in regards to that, because at the end of the day, if it's paid, it's paid. But those one of the things I think a lot of times people miss with it. My mom tuned in. Hey, mom, what's going on? I'm sorry, I cut you off. My mom come in every week. I appreciate you tuning in, mama. How you doing? But directly, guys, that's one of the biggest things, because I know a lot of people look at it. Why is my property taxes increasing? Why, I don't know why each year, and I want to get it reduced. Always remember that those funds are attributed to certain things that you're going to take advantage of. Again, like you're talking about the schools, the parks, police, hospitals, things like that. If they allocate it the right way, and that's what you can. That's another conversation in regards to your local politicians, how everything's budgeted out. But theoretically, that's how everything is supposed to be applied from those particular things. So increasing your property value should equal an increase in services that you guys will receive with that. So just remember that. So when we start talking about, again, the sales tax is a consumption tax for anything that you purchase to use. You'll pay a sales tax. Remember, don't pay sales tax on services, okay? The second one being income taxes. That's when you tax on actual earnings that you make. Earnings being, what you make on the job, what you make in investments, what you make on, certain things, any kind of capital gains, things like that. Or rental property, any kind of income that you're making. That's when you have an income tax applied to that. It's usually going to take care of most social programs at a federal, state level, and also certain government entities, i.e. military, i.e. roads, infrastructure, things like that. That's what that applied to with that. Book it down one-on-one. What's going on, brother? Then you have last the property tax. Property tax usually cover things from a local standpoint. Most importantly, that's the biggest thing property tax go towards is the school system, police department, I'm about to say ambulance, hospitals, parking breaks, things like that. A lot of quality, quality of life stuff that may be applied, even some social programs on the local level with that said and stuff. So that's why I say I think it's very, very important, guys, that people have a good idea um, of what the impact of it is with the different ones, because each each tax type targets the aspect of the economy differently, and depending on your personal financial circumstances and the purpose and the range that they can impact you, it can vary. But it's very, very important that you actually know how they can affect you, in a good or bad way with doing that. 1 second. That. And anybody got any questions in regards to taxes or anything? I know a lot of times people always ask me a gazillion questions. Why we got to do this? Why we got to do that? We got people in and out of the chat. So please feel free while you got me on live right now. You can find out. We can discuss it, anything. And if I don't know, I'll let you know. We'll definitely find out from there exactly what it is. While I'm waiting for people, you guys know I'm a proud member of 100 Black Men South Metro. We got our annual golf tournament coming up. I'm going to put a link to that. If you want to attend the golf tournament, I think that's September 4th, that Monday. We're going to have that's one of our main fundraisers. And if you hit the link, and if you're not able to attend, at least donate a dollar or two. We do a lot of good mentoring, a lot of good work in the community. So we definitely would appreciate anything you guys can donate. You send anything, just tell them, Mr. Short Dollar suggests you send it to the organization as well. Boogie Down 101. What's up, Mondre? Love this game you giving it to the people. Man, I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. You need to let me know next time you come to Atlanta. That's when my army buddies meet St. Louis. Let me see right now what I'm sitting here thinking about. Make sure if there's anything I'm about to forget. Let me see. Guys, I really want to impart on you to make sure, and I get it if it does not interest you. I get it. If you're not interested in politics or anything like that, but these damn city council meetings and things like that, you don't need to be worried about raising hell with the mayors or the people, just around election time. If you can just find a little time out your life to go to one of these meetings and sit down and listen, you probably get a lot of insight that can help you understand how a lot of things around you that you deal with on a day-to-day basis are impacted and affected by the decision of 4 or 5 people, with just some decisions that they make in regards to that. So taxes, again, they're needed. Again, a lot of times people will say, I don't have to pay taxes and stuff like that. But again, you got services out here that have to be paid. Remember, you want more of this, you got to go increase, decrease somewhere else, okay? You just can't just throw out there, we got to pay teachers more money. We just can't throw out there, we need to get more police. Something got to go up. It's got to get paid. Just like when you see the athletes and everything like that, they're not getting paid taxes. But if a team wants to pay a particular player more money, or they want to move into a new stadium, they're going to have to do a couple of things. Let somebody go or increase ticket prices. I mean, something has to change, right? You just can't stay the same because your numbers are your numbers, right? Math is math. Math is a true science, right? 1 + 1 is 2. You got different ways you can sit there and get back to that 2. You can take from 4 - 2, 6 - 4. Those things didn't happen, but if you got to get back to the 2, you just have to get back to the 2. And so that's how I think things have to look at it from that perspective. What we got right here, John Bragg. I don't understand why it matters that if a renter or home living in the dwelling, taxes are paid by his homeowner somewhere. Thanks for what you do. Well, you know what? That depends. That depends with that, because it's not the issue if it's getting paid. The issue comes up is just to gain interest in that. Because here's the deal. Just look at any major city right now, what's going on. That's a good point, John Bragg said. I don't understand why it matters if a renter or a homeowner is living in the dwelling, taxes are paid by the owner somewhere. The issue comes up is, again, we start talking about gained interest. Because, again, and this not, part of the topic with that, but if you see at the end of the day, if you can have one area the taxes are getting paid. And if you turn around and you start getting a different kind of interest in there, the taxes, the values go up. I grew up over on the west side. My property taxes, the area we say was blighted, say lower income. Different people start buying houses over there and investing into the community. Now you start talking about I apologize about them. Had a little technical. I'm here, John. I apologize about that, and it went out. And I want to answer your question because here's the deal. When we look at this from different perspectives in regards to the actual money that's going in, when you look at it, just say if you're paying into account, in particular county, you're paying your property taxes, right? And your property taxes is one side. Just say if you have the property taxes are applied holistically, like whether everything's going into one pot or it's in proportion to whatever you paid in, right? And if you look at it from one perspective, you say, look, I paid $5,000 for my taxes. Other end of the county, they pay $1,000. Are you putting in the same pot and we were all using this together? Or should more of my money be applied to a particular area? Can't say what's right, can't say what's wrong. I personally think if I put in the money, it should impact where I live at with doing it. That's just how I feel. But at the end of the day, that's why it's so important. Sometimes you're going to have to sit there and look at it like, hey, we got the people that are going to make certain decisions with doing certain things. And again, when you have, and again, I personal opinion, I'm gonna say this: I don't think if people are renting in a particular area, it's gonna have the same. They're gonna have the same vested or gained interest that if you own it. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. It's my opinion. I don't have statistical data with doing it, but I think if somebody's paying, if they're paying that, they got a property tax, got a mortgage, with doing that, they have more of a gained interest because at the end of the day, with that mortgage, you're locked in. You can't go nowhere. That's yours. You're stuck with it 20, 30, 40 years, right? If I'm a renter, I can just leave when when my lease is up. I can leave with that. And so typically you don't have the same kind of gained interest. That's why it's so important. People, again, we start looking at it, from going to certain things as far as knowing your county commission, our things are taxed with doing that. So that's why my opinion with that. I ain't want to go all the way left with that in regards to what I was talking about, but I do think it makes a difference when you're doing certain things where you can leave, because just like where I'm at right now in Clayton County, is people, you don't have a lot of long-term residents of people that may be renting. They may leave, go to a Fayette. They may leave to go to a Henry County because of those particular things. They may feel like it's more quality of life, things like that. So you can't, that amount, is going down. You got a person that maybe own a building, the value is decreasing because you got people leaving out. They can't pay as much, whatever. Those things do change, and it does have an impact. And like, again, the actual gained interest. People willing to make sure there's invest in certain things to set up now. It does alter that, in my personal opinion, with doing that. Anybody else got any questions, anything like that? And I appreciate that, John. Anyone? Guess everybody quiet. I done ran my damn mouth too much. No one else got any questions, concerns, anything like that? Big shout out to everybody that went to Charles Lincoln Harper High. We had our annual Harper Day this past Saturday, July 29th at the school. I don't actually know the exact amount of people out there, but we partied. We had a good time. It was great to see everybody. And put a couple things in the chat. I did a live stream the other day in regards to the Mr. Short Dollar Tax Business course. If y'all are looking to get into tax business, we have the course, what we were talking about. I have a course set up. If you want to get into tax business, pretty much give you the whole blueprint. If you want to run a virtual service, brick and mortar, how to advertise year round, market year round, find your niche customer. Also offering coaching and coaching services in addition to it. What we got right here? Let me see, something happened now. Had a little glitch. I don't know what happened with that. But yeah, we did a live feed in regards to that the other day. Let me see something. YouTube is still live. I want to make sure that. Okay, cool. Let's see what we got now. YouTube. Wait a minute. Bear with me 1 second. Just want to make sure everything's good. Anybody got any questions or anything like that? What we're talking about in regards to taxes from a sales tax, income tax, property tax perspective, any question, anything like that? Let me see. I will be back in the studio next week in the Misfit studio. Let's see, just 1 second. Cool. There we go. But yeah, also something else. It was something else I want to go over with you guys that I was going over. That's not it. Went over the golf tournament and the actual course. We got a lot of stuff going on for the month of August on Mr. Short Dollar right now where I got you. We're going to have probably about 10, just like we did last month, 10 different grant opportunities for you guys to take advantage of. Actually, it's going to be more than that, taking consideration probably about 4 of those grants that we introduced in the month of July. They actually expire in August. So it'll be a lot of opportunities for you guys, small business owners, entrepreneurs, take advantage of that information. Got different business resources in regards to certification, that being disabled vet, SBA, minority business listings, different opportunities with that. A lot of great information in regards to certain analytical stuff, information, especially from entrepreneurs, how to price your products, different other analytical stuff. And also remember, guys, we got over 700 videos on the YouTube channel. I mean, so it's not just we talking about grants and things like that, how to price your products, how to stage your products, different kind of ratio ideas and things like that, how to look at certain things. We want to start partnerships and things. Got a lot of great information coming down the pike. So listen, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, Mr. Short Dollar. Take advantage of the information that's there. Okay. I think we had the channel, 6-7 years now. So there's a lot of information there. Okay. So we run this show every other Thursday. Next week, we are on my other YouTube channel, Change the Lives, hosted by yours truly, Deonte Burden. which is pretty much a motivational channel. What are we on? I don't know the subject matter next week on changing lives, but it's usually something. If it's a mix with either the two, I may stream them together. But we got same thing, probably 700 videos on that channel as well. So guys, if you don't have any questions or anything like that, I don't see anybody else with any questions. Let me see. I want to check one thing before I get out of here. Let's see if I got anybody. Any questions? No, I don't see many questions, but if you got anything, like I said, I'm on here right now. Any questions about sales tax, property tax, income taxes, period, please feel free. Because you got your boy on right now, and I got you covered with everything. So listen, guys, I don't see anything, but listen, I want to tell you from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate all the love and support. We've grown tremendously over the past year with the YouTube channel, past couple years and stuff like that. So again, thanks for all the love and support. If anything run across your mind later, go to the YouTube channel, Mr. Short Dollar, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment or question in the comment section. Everybody knows, take me a day or so, but I will respond back to your question and comment. Take care of yourself, guys. Love you. Be safe, and I'll talk with you soon.